Hello, and welcome back to Amateur Philosophers Play Games. I'm Noah, your host.
I'm Justin, the gamer.
And this is the show where we play video games and discuss philosophical ideas, problems, and philosophize about random topics. So, Justin, I woke... Alright, just wait for this transition. This is going to be a great transition. Okay? You know it's going to be good. So, I woke up today, and I realized, man, I'm conscious. Consciousness. Okay, this didn't actually happen, but... Alright, we're here to talk about consciousness. But specifically, we want to talk about the human consciousness, which is important, but also animal consciousness. Are animals conscious? What does that mean? Is it in the same way or a different way from humans? Let's just explore this whole topic, because it's a very interesting thought. You know, I have a dog. I have a pet dog. My family does. I love my dog. He's great fellow. But in general, you don't typically think of animals such as dogs or whatever acting or thinking in the same way as a human does. But let's think about it.
All right, so we're gonna start with what is consciousness, right? That's where we're starting.
Consciousness. So
okay.
I pulled up a tiny amount of preparation beforehand. The Oxford Language Dictionary definition. There's 3 different versions. One about being as opposed to being awake. That's not what we're talking about. Second one, a little more interesting. Consciousness: the awareness or perception of something by a person. Which, interesting. That's not exactly what we're getting at. But I think the third definition is the more relevant one. Consciousness: the fact of awareness by the mind of itself and the world.
Right. So being self-aware is part of what that definition is, and it's getting in the realm of what we're trying to talk about. Because like self-awareness is basically, or scientists have a test for what self-awareness is, and it's when what you do is you take an animal or a person, sorry, you put them in front of a mirror, and then like see how they react to like their reflection. Do they think that the animal... Okay, wait, am I supposed to be... Where's my map? No, it's definitely like in here.
Oh, yeah, no, I think you have to just go back and... Oh, wait. No, that's Divine Ruta, that's... Yeah, that's when you did. Oh, I think like you have to go back and talk to someone to like officially finish the course.
I see. Okay. So anyway, put them in a mirror, and you basically ask like, or see, do they think that the animal that's in the mirror is them, or do they treat it as a different person? One of the ways they do this is like they put it in front of the mirror and they like let it look at itself, and then they'll like take some like red paint or like something and they'll mark it.
Mark the animal. You mean?
Mark the animal. Like they'll put like something on their forehead that they can't see, with the like at themselves. They have to look in the mirror, and if they look in the mirror and they like realize like, oh, that's on me, like they'll like point at it and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's mine, instead of like pointing at like the mark in the mirror. Like they point at like on their face, they're like, oh, that's me. Then they're self-aware and they understand like, oh, I am like a thing that exists, basically.
Okay.
But that's not quite what we want, because like I said, like lots of animals can do that. But
yes.
does that really show that like you are a conscious being, or that you understand like that you are a mind?
Yeah. So
I think like read the definition again.
Yes,
it's self-awareness of
awareness by the mind of itself and the world. So I think what we're getting at is animals are definitely aware of the world, right? Like when my dog sees a squirrel, it chases it. Animals are aware of the world. The question is, I think, more interesting, is a dog's mind or a cat's mind or whatever aware of itself? So, for example,
right.
Humans, this may come as a surprise to you, dear viewers, but I am, in fact, a human. I know. But, yes.
So he says. It's been rumored.
So I say. You know, you haven't seen my face yet, so who can say? But humans, such as myself and you all, we can be aware of our own minds. Like, my mind is thinking right now, and I can have my mind basically think of itself and examine itself in a certain way. It's kind of a strange, not exactly, it's kind of a strange thing to say, but it's understandable. Like my mind, I'm aware that my mind exists more than just necessarily, like I can look at my hand right now and say, oh look, I have a hand, that's part of the world. I can also be aware that my mind exists, not necessarily part of the physical world, but as its own thing.
Right, and I think that's part of, like a key part of like this definition. It's that the mind is something that is abstract. It is an abstract concept that we have. Like, it's not just like the brain recognizing, oh yes, I am a brain. It's the, like, well, to a majority of the population who has it, the voice in your head that says I whenever you're like, oh, I need to go to the store.
Yeah.
Or, no, I believe you say we need to go to the store.
Yeah, exactly.
A little weird, but you know.
Well,
voice.
I would say that's because I'm so aware that there's the self that is beholding and the self that is being beheld. Therefore, there must be two.
Yes.
Therefore, we use we. Easy.
Okay. Okay. But that voice, like that
Yes.
inner monologue, that mind that's working, do animals understand that?
Yeah, and that's
Like is that what they have? Like,
it's hard
cause like
to
we'd like
say.
because we'd like to think like evolutionarily there is a distinction between animals and humans. Like, I mean,
you have to press the A
oftentimes-
button, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oftentimes I will, whenever people are being snarky in an argument, I will disingenuously say, "You are just, you're no different than an animal. That's what you are." Like, if you like took out like a third-person perspective of like the world, like if if aliens came down, they would just see really advanced animals. Like, there's nothing that
Would they?
differentiates us. That's what I say when I'm being disingenuous.
Yes.
Because there's an idea that for some reason we are different than animals. But like, if you look at it from like a scientific, like biological aspect, we're not like different. We are just animals with different features.
Yeah.
Like we're definitely a different species, but we're nothing. But like, it seems like we're nothing but animals. And what you people usually, oh, there it is. Finally, it's complete. Wow, it only took us like 4 weeks, people, but we did it.
We did it.
It seems that what makes us different is like our minds. Something in our heads makes us not animals, like the ability to understand morality.
Right.
Right, like
The ability
being
to-
able to understand that. Go ahead.
Yeah, understand morality. I would say advanced language, because animals do have a sort of rough communication, but nothing even close to what what humans would consider language. You know, with grammar and
Yeah.
vocabulary and syntax and all that good stuff.
I mean, not that we know of, but the thing is, there are animals that can understand English, or not understand English. Definitely not English. Well, no, actually, hold on. No, I might have one for you, but I was thinking more of Coco, who can understand ASL.
Ah, okay.
So, like, she knew like over 200 words and could fully form sentences, like for like I'm hungry, or how are you today, or like she could speak like I think it was like called like basically she had the vocabulary of like a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old,
Right.
but she was a gorilla.
Which is interesting. I'm not super familiar with this story, but my question would be, okay, so gorillas are one of the smarter animals out there, we can agree. I could teach a gorilla to make the signs that say, hello, how are you? And I could even teach the gorilla that when it moves its hands in a certain pattern, it gets fed, or I'm not quite sure how they train Coco, but whatever, it gets fed, or it gets something good. I'm not certain that's the same as understanding language, because I think actually we've touched on this a little bit, but I do want to talk about it again because I think it's interesting. When a 4-year-old, okay, how about this? Could Coco create words? So, for example, when a 4-year-old sees something it doesn't know, it says, oh, a gla gla. And of course, that's not a word in the English language, but we understand that the 4-year-old has taken, let's say, an airplane. There's never seen an airplane before, but the 4-year-old sees this is a new object, and I am now assigning it a term, and that term will be used to discuss it further. Which, that's what language is fundamentally. So, could Coco do that?
Okay, so hold on, stay with me.
Okay.
No, Coco could not. Coco could not. As far as I know, she could not make words. However, other animals can or have shown that they can create things. So, for instance, dolphins.
Yes.
In a zoo, I've never been to SeaWorld, but I hear tell that dolphins can do tricks. Like, you can train them to like jump through hoops, or like do backflips, or like all kinds of fun things that make tourists, make super excited and pay money. I'm trying to remember how to run.
Or B?
Yeah, it's definitely
B, maybe?
B. Oh yeah, it is B. Okay.
It uses stages, so you
like,
can't run forever. But... And also, don't forget you can fast travel if you want to.
That's true. Where should I go though? Let's see. Is there?
I mean, you haven't really. So, I know it's been a while since this early part of the game. If you look around, you see how the map is sort of all blue and not explored. If you find the tall towers and get to one of those, it like unlocks the map of that certain region. So.
Oh.
So see, for example, go back like the starting area, the Great Plateau, or the starting area. See how that's an actual map, sort of.
Yeah.
Because you've.
So I just need to find the area.
You need to find the tower, like the
region.
really. It'll be the really big tower, and you can probably do that.
Okay.
Just like get on something tall and look around and see what sticks up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, well, that is the mission for now. Find the tower. Dolphins can be trained to like do tricks, but dolphins at this one zoo, I don't remember where, basically were taught a sign that said "create," and somehow they understood this sign to mean come up with your own routine and do it together. Like it was like a pair of dolphins. So like,
okay.
And when the trainers would do this sign, they would come up with a brand new on the spot, like, routine, and they would do it in sync.
Interesting.
So somehow they understood what it meant to be, like, to create a new. Oh, is that it?
To do something they haven't done before.
Yeah.
Okay. That is interesting. Yeah. Okay. That's again, that's not exactly language in the same way we would talk about it, but that's definitely an interesting thing to keep in mind. So, all right. So we've got gorillas, pretty smart, maybe not quite there. Dolphins, maybe, but I'm still not convinced that that's quite the same as, say, writing a book or composing a symphony or what have you. But it's a
okay. It's a start.
It's an approximation, let's say. I like that word.
Okay.
Okay. But then again, these are all we've been talking about language and stuff. This doesn't really answer the question of is an animal's mind is an animal aware of its own mind? An animal is certainly aware of its own body, or probably is, but yeah, is it aware of a sort of intangible concept such as the mind? Or I guess you could go for with any intangible concept, like let's do my favorite, mathematics. Now, I think I can understand an animal would be able to probably roughly say if you gave a dog 3 treats and ate one, it would probably understand that there are less treats than before. But like mathematics as a concept,
I don't know, man. If you give a dog a whole bag of food, it will eat that whole thing and like not plan for the future.
That's
so
true.
I don't know
That's
if they
true.
understand that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a little generous.
Yes, but I could conceive of a very smart dog that, okay, let's say I gave my dog 3 treats, it eats them, and then it now realizes that there are no more treats. But I wouldn't say that's not the same as disconnecting mathematics from the physical world, because like abstract math is pretty disconnected from reality. As a math guy myself, I'll freely admit this. That's kind of the point of math. When you're teaching math to children, you start out by saying, okay, if you have 3 apples and take away 2 apples, how many apples do you have left? But then eventually you get up and say, higher up and say, if you have 3 and take away 2, what do you have? And that's like, that's very intangible and disconnected from reality. So yeah, I'm not convinced animals can do that either. So
Okay.
yeah.
And I kind of agree with you because honestly, before I had heard the whole create thing, the create thing really tripped me up. Not gonna lie, for the dolphins. But like dolphins can also figure out like traps. Like they can basically do logic puzzles that are like, oh, in order to get this food, you have to take rings and drop them into this like tube full of water, and that lowers the water or whatever, or like raises the treat, and then you get the treat. And I was always like, well, that's just them realizing a pattern.
Yeah.
That's not them understanding, oh, this is how, like, I don't know, water displacement works. Like, they aren't doing anything other than just repeating a pattern that they're familiar with. So that doesn't count. But then, like, the whole create thing was like, well,
you know
actually...
what? I'm not convinced that's not also just pattern recognition. So they would be recognizing the word or the sound waves of what we call the word create. And they assign to that the meaning of, like, when you teach a dog to sit, it doesn't actually. You don't usually assume it knows the abstract concept of sitting. It just means set its haunches on the ground and then stay put until you get the treat. I think there's a possibility for the create command. The command was just move in a pattern you have not moved before. Which obviously that would imply that the dolphin has a strong enough memory to remember all the patterns and routines it's done. But that's like, we're not arguing that animals can't remember things.
Right.
Right.
Well, the question was posed to me whenever we did this in philosophy was, do they understand what creating is?
Yeah, I would.
To make something new, do they understand that concept?
I would.
Or are they just
perhaps it's a semantic.
Like you said, are they just like thinking, oh, something I haven't done before?
Yeah, I would say
but
it's probably.
Isn't that what creating is?
Is it?
Isn't it just saying, hey, I'm going to make something new that no one else has done before? Like, I'm going to write a book. Okay, well, okay, we there are lots of books already. It's just like there are lots of moves or like routines that we already know how to do. Well, can we come up with one that no one else has written before?
Right.
And that is creating a book.
Huh. It does sound like I feel like yes, it is semantics saying, oh well, creation is to do something new. Pattern, but what the dolphins were doing is just not doing something old, which it does sound like semantics. I agree, but I think there's some nugget of truth in there. Let's examine.
Yeah, I will say part of the reason I was so adamant about trying to do this, like solve this when I was like doing it in class at the moment, there are some dangerous implications that come about once you start, like when you're like, oh, I give up. Like let's just say that animals have consciousness. It's not always a happy place to go there. So I don't know if we want to bring that up now, but maybe later in the episode we'll talk about why we can't just give up and say, okay, fine, they have consciousness.
No, let's go on there. Let's put the create command on hold now, because I think that's what. Okay, perhaps this is me. I'm getting the sense this is the exception, not the rule, because most of the other examples we've talked about, and most of the other ones I could think about, give the implication of yes, animals have memory, they have pattern recognition, but not consciousness. This is the one that it seems like maybe it's in the gray area, but I'm gonna say let's put a pin in it for now. Maybe we'll come back to it later. Maybe we'll, you guys know how this show works. We don't always come back to the things we say we'll come back to. But yes, let's talk about what you're saying about.
Yeah, okay. Apparently, I can't get close to him. Oh no, that thing creepy. So the issue or the danger of saying, okay, fine, animals are just conscious beings, like then that means one, we are no different than animals, right. Which we tend to not like. We tend to think that somehow something about us makes us different than animals. Not quite sure what it is, but something makes us different. Yeah, let's eat this.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll protect me against frostbite. I guess not. So that's the first one, is that, but also that means that like we have like more of an obligation to like treat animals with I guess human rights, because once again we're no different than animals now. So
well, you might say
we have to. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess like a certain level more of dignity, which I mean, honestly, some animals like have a bit of truth than some people.
Oh, true,
but in a more like broad like sense, like animals now have
rights. Like for example, we consider it maybe not pleasant, but at least somewhat acceptable that if a dog has no home and it can't be found, it's put down. If you were to say, oh, we should put down all the humans who don't have
orphans.
Homes. That's not a good thing.
Let's kill all the orphans.
Yeah, let's not do that one, please. So yes, but I agree. If animals do have consciousness, then we have to start wondering. I mean, can we really do that? And I would think the answer should be no. But that is dependent on animals having consciousness, and I'm not convinced that they do. I'm still not convinced.
Right.
But
that is the danger. That is the danger zone. Hashtag Top Gun. Of just giving up and being like, okay, fine, animals have consciousness. Let's move on. This is a meaningless topic.
Yes.
So that is the fear. Let's see. because I can almost feel like you were gonna do that. That's why I brought it up. Was like it seemed like at some point you were about to be like, so what? Fine, sure. And it's like, well, you don't want to.
Oh, I agree. Like,
You kind of really.
a lot of times philosophy is pretty. As you like philosophy, I like philosophy. Let's be real here. A lot of times it's pretty separate from reality. As I feel, maybe this isn't actually an old saying. It's just something my dad says. But what's this got to do with the price of tea in China? You know,
Tea in China.
yeah. Okay, you have heard that saying. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the point being, okay, so what's this got to do with anything important? But yeah, you know, this is a pretty important topic. If animals are conscious, or some animals anyway, we've not been treating our conscious beings with rights they deserve, and they would 100% be rightfully angry at humanity as a whole. And you know, I don't think I want to go to war with gorillas and dogs and dolphins. That doesn't seem like it would work well for any. It wouldn't be good for anyone.
No, actually. No. And actually, this literally just came to mind. There's actually a episode of Rick and Morty where something like similar to this happens, where Rick makes a device that makes the family dog conscious.
Oh.
And then, he sees the dog is watching TV, and sees like a dog show, and is not happy.
Oh, 100%.
With what he's seeing on the dog show.
100%. If my family dog was conscious and fully conscious and it saw a dog show, it would rightfully be very upset about that.
Right, and so then it goes on a whole war rampage where obviously Rick and Morty's. So the dog is obviously gets super smart and makes giant machines that take over humanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that I feel like you're right. That is exactly what would happen if all of a sudden we were if animals or Planet of the Apes. It'd be something like that where it's oh, now you have to fight chimps, and chimps are not nice in any way. Chimps are crazy. So anyway, I agree. That is the danger of if you want to say that animals aren't conscious or have consciousness.
Right.
So personally, I'm of the opinion that they don't.
I tend to agree with you, but we can't just assume this. We have to. We should give it the careful consideration.
So back to the question of creativity and why is it that dolphins creating a trick routine that they haven't done before, not creativity?
Yeah.
Or why does it not show that they understand what create means?
Yeah. Well, they understand the command in the same, no doubt about that. My dog understands the command sit, which, agree. So animals have.
Yes.
What would you call that exactly? I want to give a term to that. Not.
I like pattern recognition.
Yeah, sure. Pattern recognition. They recognize if, when the human makes sounds that sound this way, you do a certain thing with your body, you get treats. And even later on, when they don't get treats for every command, they still recognize the pattern and they still do it because they've been trained. That's what we call training.
Right. They understand that if they do it, then the owner will be happy.
Yes, owner will.
They understand. They understand cause and effect.
Yeah, to a limited degree, anyway. Probably not as advanced as humans, but in some way they do. But yeah. Well, I guess it's not. I don't think we should. Okay. I think we now have to get into the definition of what is creativity in general.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, that's an easy topic to just throw in there partway through the show, eh?
Yeah. Okay. So what is creativity? Because we have established that if we're going to be consistent, we're saying that creativity is not simply coming up with something that hasn't been done before.
Right. And I feel like we've talked about this on previous episodes before. This is something I like thinking about quite a bit. But
yeah, I was gonna say it kind of ties into your desire to do aesthetics.
Yeah.
What is art, and why is it art? So what is creativity? Okay, I think I can go along with you in your what you were saying about simply doing something you haven't done before isn't necessarily creativity.
Actually, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I just had a thought. If we're talking about aesthetics, there we go. Creativity, when you attempt to create something, I mean, let's start with art. When you attempt to art is an attempt to create beauty. where there was not necessarily beauty before. Like if I have a pile of paints, I mean, it's not, we wouldn't usually call that beauty per se, but if I arrange those paints into the Mona Lisa, I have created beauty where there was none before. I don't think that when the dolphin does that, the dolphin is not trying to make beauty. I don't think, that's another thing. It doesn't seem like the dolphin has a concept of beauty, which...
Right. I think, okay, that makes me think of something. So, the dolphin understands how to do a routine.
Right.
But the dolphin doesn't do it independently and make new routines. An artist will, of their own, I think this is how you say this word, fruition?
Volition, you mean?
Volition, yes. Yeah. They will make a painting.
Yeah, okay.
Or write a novel. Because they want to do it. Not because someone says, hey, make a novel. I mean, obviously, they do that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, that does happen. That definitely does happen sometimes. You know, if you're a professional artist, a lot of times from my understanding, professional artists don't always do the stuff they want to do, but regardless, the idea that you can do art simply for the desire to do it and the desire to make something beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. So wait, wasn't there something about how I can, like, put a tracker on where, like, the next divine beast is?
Yeah, so if you just, like, hover over any point in the map and press... See down in the bottom, I can't tell which button it is from this angle, but
yeah,
one of the buttons you can like set a marker, and then that marker will show up even in your mini map as well. So
right, but there's no way for me to just see where the divine beast is from here, right? Like I can't just be like, oh, I need to go this direction.
Not from this map, but I think if you pull up, actually can you go into your quests? I think that should be able. So
is it under adventure log?
Yeah. Okay, so. R, I think. All right, go left, basically.
Oh, I see.
No, not that one. There we go. So
here's side quests, and then this is memories. Okay, so then shrine quest. Okay. Oh, and so then if I click on it, then it'll bring
like
up
set up a quest marker.
I see. Okay.
On your mini map. So if you want to do a side quest, you can do that now. Like
yeah, let's do the side quest.
And now you can like look.
All right.
Now you can like look in your not one time, but you could like look in your mini map and see is it quicker to walk there or fast travel there or something. But
that would have been smart too. Anyway, back to animals consciousness. I forgot the last thing we were talking about. What were we talking about?
Something about painting and wanting.
Oh, right. Yes, the desire. So, is part of creativity like having the intention to understand like, oh, I'm going to make something that I haven't done before, and it will be like cool, or it'll be nice, or it'll be like you were saying with beauty, like there has to be the idea of there's something behind.
Yeah, the beauty obviously is kind of a broad term. Like I think it is a broader term than we typically use it as, but yeah, cool or nice or entertaining.
Whoa.
What?
I just got hit with lightning, and now I have, like, way more hearts.
Oh, yeah. Did you not know when you do the Divine Beast, Mifa, that was the fish girl who piloted the Divine Beast, gives you her power, which is...
Oh, right. Right, if I die...
You come back with more hearts. But it does have a recharge, so it's not like... You're not forever.
I don't have a bow, that's why. I broke my bow. Okay, anyway. Sorry. I just freaked out for a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, the beauty, I would say, like, two topics on what is beauty, but not to get too sidetracked with that. The idea of, I think you're right, the idea of, oh, I want to make something cool, I want to make something fun, or interesting, or educational, like, those all, I think, sort of fall under the heading of beauty, at least partially. Well, you got zapped.
I did get zapped. I got zippy zapped.
Yes.
So yes, so creativity is more than just simply
doing something new.
Right, because like I guess it's true. Because I guess like if you do something by like we wouldn't say you were creative if you made something new by accident. Like making penicillin, really cool, not creativity. Dude left some bread out over the weekend and then turned out life-saving drugs.
Right. Yeah, I think I can go along with that. And similarly, like, if we said creativity, like, do something different. I mean, if I drive to work a different road than I usually take, I mean, I'm doing something I've never done before. I wouldn't really call that creating in that sense.
Right.
Like, that's a different concept. So, yeah, this might not be the best place to hang out.
I know, but I know now. Now I just want to kill them. Like this is my side quest.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, it is. Like, I was just walking around minding my own business, and then they decided that I needed to die all of a sudden. Like, it was literally out of nowhere. Okay, I need. I'm gonna do this. I am Reptar. Hear me roar.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we can probably say the dolphins that on the command create did something new. They were doing something new, but I wouldn't assign it the same level of creativity of painting a painting or writing a symphony or a novel or even like coming up with a really advanced ballet routine. Like when all of those things, when a human does them, they're trying to create art, create something beautiful. I don't think the dolphins were doing that. I mean, it's hard to say for sure, because we can't get inside the dolphins' brains.
Ask the dolphins?
Yeah, we can't ask the dolphins. So yeah, it seems like a lot of the measures of consciousness we've used awareness of self, or awareness of the mind, awareness of intangible concepts, language, creativity. It seems like animals don't have those. Are there anything else we could... So I suppose this also raises the question, if we were to meet an alien species, to judge whether or not they deserve rights, we would have to judge, oh, does the alien species, do they have a language? Do they, create art? Alien art would obviously, what art means to aliens would probably be very different than what it means to humans, but still, the idea of something that is beautiful, I think probably we could assign that to consciousness. Huh, it's interesting though. So what we're saying?
Sorry,
is...
I am in the zone right now. Like I am sniping them out.
Yeah, I get it. Discussing the high concepts of philosophy? Nah. Killing these lightning boys? Oh yeah, they deserve it. This is important.
I'm creating my own side quest.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think animals... Okay, there we go. We could probably train an animal, a very smart animal, to play... Breath of the Wild might be too common. We could probably train a very smart animal to play Mario, but I don't know if the animal would get any enjoyment out of it in the same way a human could.
That's fair. Side note, this actually was recently something that scientists did. They taught a chimp to play Pong.
Yeah, exactly. Like
using only their mind. But that's like more of the side part of it. But point is, they were able to teach like an animal to play Pong.
Right, exactly. Like that's conceivable. I could even see a very smart chimp playing a more advanced game than Pong. Like, yeah, I'll say Mario, like the original old school Super Mario World. But I don't think
the good one.
I mean, I don't. I'll be honest. I don't have too much nostalgia for old school gaming, so I can't say one way or the other. But I do know of it. Yeah.
But yes, so.
But I don't think you wouldn't likely see an animal doing that for pleasure in the same way a human would. Like, they would do it because they have been trained to and they want to get the treat afterward. So I suppose that's actually another interesting, another possible mark of consciousness. The ability to take pleasure in intangible things. Like, yeah, for example, animals we know take pleasure in food if they're hungry, in sleeping when they're tired, etc. So do humans. But humans can also a grand symphony or a beautiful mountain vista or a gripping novel. Like, these are not really tangible things that, and they obviously don't provide any of your physical needs. But humans do take pleasure in them. Whereas I've never met an animal that was impressed with a symphony any more than random noises.
Okay, how about a magic show?
You mean like stage illusion?
Yeah, like something you would do at like a children's party.
Oh yeah.
Would you consider that? Because there are definitely animals that enjoy magic. Orangutans have been seen like watching like balls disappear in like magician's hands. and then like what we would call laughing. Like they like clap their hands and then like fall over, and like with their mouth open, and they're like ha ha. Like they don't actually laugh, but like it's like, you know when you laugh but you don't actually like make a sound, you're just like
yeah, I like that.
yeah.
I was about to try to do the soundless one, but I realized that wouldn't really work over a sound-based show. So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. So like chimps, like orangutans
again,
can do that. They can definitely enjoy magic.
Interested in it, but I don't. Okay, maybe not. Take pleasure is exactly the right word. How about take satisfaction in it? Like, you know the sensation of
wait,
sometimes.
Are you maybe looking for the word appreciate?
Sure, I think appreciate.
Like
is
I can
kind of...
appreciate a symphony and be like, this is good music, and like I can understand like, oh yes, this is good because.
Yeah, but
like,
I think it goes deeper than that. Like I know you're not a symphony guy, so let's use a movie for example. Like, have you ever know that sensation? Maybe I hope you do at least. When you've seen an amazing movie, it is, you can tell by all standards it is a wonderful movie. You enjoyed it and you appreciate it, but there's like a deeper sense of fulfillment,
this is really far.
satisfaction. Like, you know how, all right, put it this way. When you're hungry and then you eat a large meal, you feel satisfied, right? There's the,
yeah.
It's more than just the lack of hunger. There is a positive satisfaction. It's not returning to neutral. The same thing with, but in intellectual or mental form. Like when you watch a great movie or see a beautiful sunset, there's that feeling of satisfaction. It's more than just a return to neutral. It is an above thing, which that's what I'm trying to get at. I don't. So I guess you could use the word appreciate, but that seems a little too low.
Okay, let's see. Oh, I need to drop. I picked up a branch at some point. I need to drop it. Yeah, I do need this though.
Probably better than a tree branch.
Probably. Okay. So can animals get satisfaction from like music or things like that?
I mean, again.
So something obviously. So we're talking about something non-physical,
right?
Like
because we can
like
see pretty
not belly scratches.
Yeah, we can see that's pretty. That's like a physical thing. I guess. Animals, especially dogs, but I guess it applies to any animals. You can see they have like a satisfaction with a bond with their master, but that's again not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I know my dog. I've seen my dog, especially the ones that are more people-y. They do definitely get some form of satisfaction just from being around and interacting with their human masters. But that's not quite the same as taking pleasure and satisfaction from a symphony or a film or what have you. So yeah, that's interesting. But I do kind of want to touch on that, like the idea of bonds as in
James Bond.
Yes. that is definitely.
Okay, actually, okay. I figured out how to do the Divine Beast. I found the adventure thing that let me actually do it. So like, I'm gonna.
So yeah, so one of the ones down in the bottom row, like the red or blue or yellow square.
There we go.
Yeah, so
now I know the general. Okay, that way I don't get them confused. Okay. All right, we're good. I was going the wrong direction, but now we've got it, guys.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so.
Bonds, like that's another thing. Humans obviously, definitely take great pleasure and happiness in forming deep bonds with other humans, be it friendship, family, romantic.
We are social creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
This is true.
And then animals have that too, but I think maybe this.
But do they understand what that is?
Yeah, and do they understand it? And another separate question: is the bond between a human and an animal, like a human and a dog, let's say, different than the bond between a dog and a dog?
I think this is a point against the idea that they do. Like dogs are pretty loyal animals,
Yes.
like they there have been animals that have like, what is it? There's a famous story, of a dog. I think it was in Japan.
Yeah, the dog who his master died, or his master would always go off to work, and then the dog would always.
And then he would wait the train section.
Yeah, and then even after the master died, the dog would every day go to the train station and eventually died because it never left. Yeah, like a very sweet tale of loyalty. Agreed.
Yes. So dogs definitely have that. But also, if you die in your apartment with your dog, after about 3 days, the dog will start eating you.
Well, true.
So.
Yeah, but you could say that's. I mean, perhaps. Well. I mean, if I died, if I were in my apartment and my dog died and I were starving, I wouldn't like it.
I was about to say. I mean,
dog.
I was gonna say humans also eat humans if we get desperate enough.
We typically look at that as kind of a bad thing, but you know.
But the thing is, well, I guess the question is, would the dog seem remorseful? Actually, no. Oh, actually, no. I got something for this. Dogs actually can't feel remorse, or like shame. They actually can't feel that. They don't have the chemicals to do that. So the dog wouldn't even feel bad about eating you.
Right. Yeah.
So does it like can it
typically have morality that we see? Humans definitely do have a sense of morality.
Yes, oh look.
What?
It's the ice chick or ice thingy. I'm gonna sniper from above. Give me a good arrow though.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a vendetta now.
That's understandable. Well, I'm thinking again. This is getting a little off topic, but I think it's interesting. The bond between a dog and a human. I think that is different than the bond between dogs or even a dog and like a horse or something, because it's sort of
okay.
All right, so I'm gonna get a little more philosophical. I forget which philosopher, but there's been a few who said like the hierarchy of being, right? That's a thing where you've got rocks, for example, are at the bottom of the hierarchy, and then plants are above it, and then animals are above that, and then humans above that, and then God or the gods or whatever above humans. So the interesting question is, what happens when a member of a higher member of the hierarchy looks down upon and descends upon a lower member? So if this would be, in our case, a human interacting with and loving upon a dog, which is lower in the hierarchy. I'm not making this hierarchy thing up, right? This is definitely something that has been talked about before.
I don't know if this is the exact thing you're talking about, but like, was it Plato was like plagued with this question about whether or not like, oh no, could a pig be happy because it's the amount of enjoyment you get out of life? And someone was like, a pig that like wallows in its own filth is happier than Plato because Plato had less pleasure. So like, there's that kind of thing where it's like there's different layers of like, you are better than a pig.
That's not exactly what
because
I'm talking about, no.
You have enjoyment. Okay, that's what you're saying makes me think of. But I could, if it's not a thing, I will grant you it. Like, it seems like I can go along with this line of thought. So whether or not it is a thing, it is now the Noah theory, and we,
Okay,
so.
It's definitely not the Noah theory. I'm let me look this up actually. I've got a computer right in front of me. Hierarchy.
What, doing research? That's not what we do here.
Here we go. Hierarchy of beings in Marvel. Hierarchy of beings Aristotle. Let's click on that one.
Wait, really? There's a. I like how Marvel came up first.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of this. The Great Chain of Being. A hierarchical structure of our Madeline life, thought by medieval Christianity to have been decreed by God. The chain begins with God and descends through animals, or God, angels, humans, animals, and plants and minerals. So I don't think, I'm pretty sure they took that from Aristotle, but the same concept of, as in humans would be above animals in a certain way, just as animals would be above plants, and plants would be above minerals or whatever. So yeah, the point being, the further you go up the hierarchy, the more advanced and the more complete. No, it's not the right word. higher? Not quite sure what the right term would be, but
advanced maybe?
yeah, I think
Complex? No.
complex is probably getting close to the right idea. The higher you get, well, I mean, we often judge about, like, you know, ascend. I don't know if you do, but I often joke about, oh, you know, humans ascending to a higher plane of existence. That idea of a higher form of existence. What exactly that means is a little fuzzy, but I think we can kind of grasp it, right?
Yeah. I think I can get down with what you're saying. Like, it makes sense.
So now that we've got that established, the idea of the human as a higher form being, making a connection with the dog, almost elevates the dog in a certain way, right? Because a wild dog is, you know, wild. It lives by instincts, but a dog that has been connected to a human often, like, is trained, right? You don't see wild dogs training themselves, but humans can train them and give them sort of a semblance, a shadow of thought or of reason, you know, the idea of if I sit or if I do what master says, I'll get a treat and I'll get a belly rub or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that idea. So just interesting because again, all these things we were saying about the gorilla who Coco, I believe, the gorilla who was taught language, and then the dolphins who were dancing, and the dogs. These are all animals that have had a lot of interaction with humans, and humans who have gone out of their way to try to elevate them, right? Wild animals typically have even less understanding than that, right? So perhaps, I'm not certain about this, but perhaps all these questions we've asked about, well, all these things maybe could mean an animal has consciousness, are more a function of humans elevating animals, not to full consciousness, but sort of bits and pieces of shadows of it through the human intervention, which, you know, is an interesting idea.
Okay. So wait. Then would you say that animals could gain consciousness someday if we elevate them high enough?
I don't think so, but I think what we're doing when you train an animal, you can't give it consciousness, not fully. That's not in its nature. We're assuming that's what we're going with, but it's not in its nature. But you can sort of. I keep using the word shadow, like, or a sort of a shadow, like sort of the. Okay, here we go. Like, you take a tree, and if you draw a rough sketch of the tree, the rough sketch is not tree in any way, shape, or form, but it sort of indicates it. See what I mean? So when you train Coco to recognize words and say hello, how are you in ASL, you're not teaching her language, but you're teaching her, or you're
you're showing her the shadows on the cave wall.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can never take Coco out of the cave.
Right, because it's not in her nature, or it's not in the nature of the animal.
Actually, okay, I know you were kind of like joking with that, but that actually, because like, okay, I see what you mean about like the whole, like, relating to, or like the hierarchy. This does sound familiar. I'm not quite sure what it is. Like what you're saying, obviously, like, you looked it up, like, but like I know, like, I've had a discussion about this, like, in class at some point, but I don't remember why, or like the context of the discussion, and now I really want to know, because it would be very helpful right now.
I mean, I can't be sure this is the discussion or context, but one very important implication of this would be theologically. Like, so humans are higher than animals, but God, or assuming if God exists, which for the sake of the argument, let's say he does, God is higher than humans, right? So when God would when God attempts to make first of all, it has to be the higher to the lower, right? Animals don't go out of their way to make bonds with humans. It's, I mean, not in the same sense of a master-servant relationship, but the higher coming to the lower. And then, so humans couldn't try to create a relationship with God in the same way. God would have to come down and strike up a relationship with the humans. And the humans are never going to become God, but through this teaching or whatever bond you want to call it, sort of an image of an image. I'm trying to. I know I'm treading on some theological thin ice here, but I'm trying to explain my thoughts without. I think what I'm trying to get at here is what the Christians I call the doctrine of special revelation. You know, there are some things that humans could never know unless God explains them. In the same way, like an animal could never know training unless a human explains it. What those things are, that's definitely a topic for your theology class, which I do recommend it. It's a very interesting topic to study, but that's kind of beyond scope of this video.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, actually I'm gonna poke you with another animal fact to see if it shakes your theory a little bit.
Okay.
So as of right now, ravens,
the bird.
Quote the raven, nevermore, are currently going through their Bronze Age, or their Stone Age.
Okay.
They are beginning to use tools in the same way that like early humans use tools, where they understand how cars work or traffic lights work to like drop nuts on the road to get them to bust open by cars running them over. They are like making like sticks into like tools to get bugs out of like tree bark. So they are beginning to use tools, and no one is telling them how to do this. Like no one is out here training ravens. Well, I'm sure someone is. Vorvog's out there somewhere.
Right. I see your point. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. Actually, I didn't know that, but it's like they're again. So.
Oh, what? I just blew up.
Boy, I hate it when that happens to me. Happens every Tuesday night. But yeah, so you could theorize. So the idea of learning that using traffic lights, that definitely could fall under the sense of pattern recognition. Like when this thing turns green, big scary zooms zoom around. But yeah, that's very interesting. I would say also that's cool. I'm still not sure they meet the other qualifications. Like we're still not seeing, do the ravens have awareness of their own minds, or do they are they interested in beauty or art, for example? Like we have, I mean, we can't talk to any of the people from the Stone Age or back in the prehistory, but we can see like cave art and stuff. Humans since the beginning have always created art. And it doesn't seem like the ravens are doing that. Perhaps, who knows? Maybe raven art just isn't comprehensible to humans, but it doesn't seem like they're making art.
I mean, nests arguably are a type of art. They decorate them, I assume.
I don't know about that because, again, the idea of like attempting to create beauty. Again, that's. We'd have to talk to a raven. I've read inside a raven's head to examine that, but yeah, that's interesting. Who knows? Perhaps someday the ravens will prove us wrong. And another thing, language. That was another one we talked about. Yes, ravens do communicate with each other, but not like in the same sense of language as a human as we would understand it. And again, so far as we can tell, even back in the old days, humans. As long as humans have been human, there has been language. It's not always as advanced as it is today, but there's been definitely ideas of language and naming conventions and what have you. So, my instinct would be toward the ravens. That's cool, and that indicates maybe ravens are like smarter animals than we thought. But I'm still not convinced that's consciousness. Not until they start.
Okay.
Having language and art and what were the other ones we talked about? Self-awareness is kind of hard to judge, but
yeah, self-awareness of the mind. Okay, wait. But does this not show that animals are capable of ascending to that higher plane that we were talking about?
That doesn't follow.
They're definitely moving along the chain.
That doesn't follow. No, because saying. It does not follow that if you can use tools, then you could someday achieve consciousness. That's not. I don't think there's grounds for that necessarily. You hit him?
Okay. I mean, no, I didn't. I just didn't. But I don't know. To me, I feel like it at least partially shows that like they are able to progress along the same chain that we are saying we progress along and why we are conscious.
Yeah, I would. My guess. Again, it seems like something will have to be verified by history, but my guess is that the ravens, perhaps in their level, in the animal level, maybe can move higher into that level, but it doesn't seem likely that they'll bridge the gap and make the jump from animal to human, or human-like.
Well,
I mean, not human.
I was gonna say,
not
I'm
human
not saying that evolution's gonna make ravens into people.
No, that's not what I meant. But human-like, or consciousness. So who knows? Perhaps they will, and I'll have to eat my words. I'll have to eat my words on this, but I don't expect that to happen. Ooh. Yeah. All right. I think we've... Obviously, there's always more to say, but I think we've covered quite a bit on this topic.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. This seems like
let me just kill these guys and then we can end it. Because I just committed giant terrorism.
But it's okay because they're monsters, so.
And they'll come back.
Do these things have consciousness? Because if so, we might have a problem here.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know what? You and I play D&D. Do you know any war crimes we commit in D&D?
Don't remind me. Yeah. But with all that out of the way, thank you all so much for watching. It's been always a pleasure to create art that the beauty, maybe there's some small beauty in this YouTube channel. I hope so. I'm not confident about it, but maybe there is. And hopefully you all can enjoy whatever beauty there might be. Please leave a like, drop a comment if you are a crow and you can tell us all about your upcoming renaissance of. If you're a crow, please tell us all about what Crow Society thinks of consciousness. If you're aware of your own mind, or no.
Also, when you take over the world finally through evolution, remember that I was kind.
Yeah.
I believed in you.
World, like,
I rooted for you.
Remember, we shouted you out in this video. So, but yes, and if you're a human, tell us all about how you're human and you are aware of your own mind, or not. I don't know. Subscribe to the channel to find out more questions of animal humanness or human animality. And yeah.
Humanity, I think is the word you're looking for. Is the word you're looking for humanity?
No. I said animal humanity and then human animality, animalness. I don't know what that word would be.
Okay.
Okay, that'll do it for now.